In this video, we're going to dive into the colourful history of Coca-Cola's creator, how Coca-Cola makes all of its money, and why it might, or might not, be the way you expect it to. What's up everybody, and welcome back to Foelum. On this channel, we talk about video topics like Amazon FBA, business services and insurance, finance, investing, marketing, real estate, stock trading, or more likely just about any other random video topic I can come up with instead. Also, if you end up enjoying this video, consider subscribing with the notification bell turned on. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Enjoy the video. As I'm sure you know, Coca-Cola is one of the biggest brands in the world. Their products are sold across almost every country on the planet. The entire world's population consumes more than 1.3 billion Coca-Cola products every single day. However, the company and the drink that started it all has an interesting history, starting as many things do, with humble beginnings. Dr. John Stith Pemberton, the creator of Coca-Cola, served for the Confederate Army in the American Civil War. He was wounded from the strike of a saber in April 1865 during the Battle of Columbus. In 1866, seeking to create a type of medicine for himself and other veterans, he began experimenting with various ingredients and mixes, eventually settling with what was known as Pemberton's French wine Coca. You can think of this as an adult version of Coca-Cola. 20 years later, in 1886, when legislation against the consumption of alcohol came into effect in Atlanta, Georgia, Pemberton pivoted on his original recipe to create a universally accepted alternative by removing the party time ingredients. This resulted in the loss of Charlie Sheen as a major customer. Thus, Coca-Cola was born. The sugary concoction created by Pemberton first went for sale at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta on the 8th of May, 1886, where it initially sold for 5 cents a glass. Unsurprisingly, global recognition didn't come overnight for Pemberton's creation, as at first he was only selling a few glasses a day. Now you might be wondering at this point why the drink was being sold in a glass rather than in the bottles and cans that we have today. Well, the simple reason for this was that at this moment in history, glass bottle production was still expensive and both plastic bottles and tin cans hadn't been invented yet, and so most soda could only be purchased at specific stores with the equipment to carbonate the syrup mixture, known as soda fountain stores. In 1887 came the first of many marketing successes for Coca-Cola. Pemberton began distributing coupons for free product samples, which is claimed to be the first use of this type of marketing method to attract new customers. Unfortunately for Pemberton, not long after this he became ill. Being close to bankruptcy, Pemberton began selling off the rights to the Coca-Cola formula to other Atlanta business owners. In 1888, a man known as Asa Griggs Candler purchased the rights for the Coca-Cola recipe for around $2,000, equal to around $47,000 today. Candler pushed forward with the drink and incorporated the Coca-Cola Company in 1892. The trademark Coca-Cola was then registered in the US Patent Office in 1893. Then in 1894, a Mississippi candy maker became the first person to bottle Coca-Cola after installing bottle machinery at his soda fountain store. It was at this point that the beverage became available to every person across the US, whether they had access to a soda fountain store or not. Thus began the reign of the Coca-Cola empire. The sales of Coca-Cola quickly rose from around 10,000 gallons in 1890 to over 370,000 gallons in the year 1900. From there, the number of Coca-Cola bottlers increased massively, and the company began to face increasingly tough competition against their product from competitors such as the lesser-known Pepsi. The Coca-Cola Company fought back against this by identifying the largest consumer barrier to their products: product recognition. They needed to build brand awareness and develop consistency across the entire product line in each bottling plant. And so, in 1916, Coca-Cola bottlers agreed on the now famous bottle with a sleek contour design that the company still uses to this day. By 1920, the company had more than 1,000 bottling plants in the United States, with even more in Europe and Asia. Today, Coca-Cola can flex the title of being the largest soda beverage company in the world, producing hundreds of products ranging from soft drinks, sports drinks, energy drinks, fruit juices, and, weirdly enough, tea and coffee. Fun fact, according to Coca-Cola, if you put all of the Coca-Cola ever produced into its standard glass bottles, you would have a total of over 6 trillion bottles. If you were physically capable of placing each of those bottles on top of one another end to end, then you would end up with the Coca-Cola Spire, a glass tower 85 times taller than Mount Everest. There are over 250 independent companies with manufacturing facilities producing products such as Coca-Cola, including Coca-Cola themselves, which is where the topic of this video comes into play. Unlike many other companies, Coca-Cola doesn't actually produce a lot of the products that you see and purchase in stores despite having their label. So that begs the question, how does Coca-Cola make its money? Now, to get a better understanding of the Coca-Cola company structure and operations, we need to look at how the company reports its net revenue. It does this in two separate segments, which it calls concentrate operations and finished product operations. So let's get into the numbers for a bit. In 2016, the concentrate operations side of Coca-Cola's business generated around 40% of the company's revenue. Concentrate operations are what the company calls the sales of its syrups to other manufacturers. These syrups are what its drinks come as before being mixed with carbonated water and turned into sweet nectar of the gods that we know them to be. The finished product operations side of Coca-Cola's business accounts for the other 60% of the company's revenue in 2016, which are from the sales of the finished in-store products Coca-Cola themselves manufacture. Going off those numbers, you might think that the 60% of the revenue that the company generates from its finished product operations would be the clear winner, and that would be how Coca-Cola makes its money. However, if we dig into that 60% of the revenue even more, we find that the company has what it calls its Bottling Investments Group, and this group is responsible for making sure that all of Coca-Cola's bottling facilities are able to churn out products. So why then are Coca-Cola so eager to ditch these facilities, and why has the company's revenue been declining? Maybe consumers are turning towards healthier lifestyles. Maybe with the hundreds of products they manufacture, they're spread too thin and losing vision. I mean, come on, who really thought that this was a good idea? Let's face it, Coca-Cola Energy should never be allowed anywhere near a grocery store. Maybe it was even that the company's famous but constant advertising had finally become too much. Some people still think Coca-Cola invented Santa Claus or were the first to dress him in red. They didn't, by the way. He was first dressed in red in the early 19th century, a full century before Coca-Cola used him. Well, as it turns out, even though this Bottling Investments Group generated most of Coca-Cola's revenue in 2016, managing all of these facilities apparently causes a lot of headaches for the company, and then coupled with the extremely low profit margins, and you can start to see why the company might not be too interested in building out more of these factories. You see, even though the finished product operations generated a higher revenue for Coca-Cola in 2016, its concentrate operations generated higher profit margins, much higher. And that's why for years now Coca-Cola has been heavily divesting, that is to sell its current investment, in its manufacturing facilities. The company's goal with this is to rely less on the expensive manufacturing facility ownership arm of its business and instead work on improving its profit margin. As the sales of its syrup concentrate grow more and more, Coca-Cola should see its profit margin and gross profit grow with it. The company has a long-term goal of not having any investments in bottling facilities at all. That's why even though concentrate sales only accounted for around 40% of Coca-Cola's revenue in 2016, in 2017 it accounted for 50% of its revenue, and in 2018 that increased further to 65%. So I just threw a bunch of numbers at you, but what do they mean? Well, in the end it means that Coca-Cola doesn't make most of its money from selling bottles of its products to you, the consumer. Instead, it makes most of its money now from selling a concentrated cola syrup to other companies that manufacture and distribute the drinks on their behalf. Also, fun side fact before the end of this video. McDonald's is such an important customer to Coca-Cola that not only are they sold the cheapest Coca-Cola on the planet, but they have an entire division within the company dedicated to ensuring that Ronald McDonald gets his sugar fix. And no, I'm not making that up. The McDonald's division is responsible for business with over 35,000 McDonald's restaurants. And that's it for this video. Before you check out some of my other videos, drop a comment letting me know if you're a Coca-Cola person or a Pepsi person. And please hit the like button if you liked it and sub if you loved it. I'll heart the 3 best and funniest comments that you leave on this video. Catch you in the next one.